Ahoy, cruise enthusiasts. Time for a weekly roundup. Maybe become a new thing, maybe not. I don't know. No promises. You all know that. Today, we're going to start with the unhappy news that happened recently. I'm sure you all heard legendary singer Jimmy Buffett passed away a couple of days ago. And while I was not a parrot head, I do remember listening to his music on a very regular basis and thinking back a lot more than I thought I had. It would always show up on some playlist, you know, when I was at work or on the boat, of course. And more importantly, when you heard those tunes, you knew it was going to be a good time. I was talking to a friend recently about artists who have had a very broad cultural impact outside of the music industry. And there's very, very few who have done so very successfully, you know, branched out from music into other things. And, you know, Jimmy Buffett with Margaritaville, you know, did that very successfully. There's Margaritaville hotels, resorts all over the world. And, you know, for us cruise lovers, it seems like there's a Margaritaville in every port, and there is a Margaritaville cruise ship. Now, you know, two of my hobbies, or my two biggest hobbies, are cruising and theme parks. So for me, Jimmy Buffett really is the Dolly Parton of cruise life, and he will be missed. So Jimmy, rest in peace where it's always 5 o'clock. The second unhappy story we're going to talk about today is that of Toki, also known as Lolita, the orca that performed at Miami Sequarium for nearly 50 years. It was a sad story. I didn't really want to get into all of that, but she was captured in 1970, I think, and then moved to Miami Sequarium shortly after, and has been performing there ever since. And here's the thing. She took ill not too long ago and was recovering, and there were plans to move her, but sadly, about 2 weeks ago, she took ill again and passed in her enclosure at the Miami Sequarium. So I will say, I don't think there was any sort of weirdness going on. If you know animal trainers, yeah, you know that's not the type that would go along with any sort of plan, and they would be very, very quick to detect this, especially since everything does seem to line up. Miami Sequarium was owned by Palace Entertainment, also owned by Parques Reunidos out of Spain, and I think they just didn't know what to do with Miami Sequarium, and particularly the orca attraction, now that they've really fallen out of favor. However, about a year ago, Miami Sequarium was sold to the Dolphin Company, which operates a number of dolphin experiences, mostly here in the Caribbean and South America. I think they're also in Europe. And that's a company that I would presume would know how to organize an orca rescue, or at least they knew somebody who would know how to organize an orca rescue. And probably not wanting to be in that business, they were setting up plans to move her to apparently a dedicated reserve in Washington State. But unfortunately, she was not able to, well, be sent back home. So I remember seeing Lolita a number of times. Miami Sequarium was a regular field trip destination for every school child here in Miami, and you know, just going to the park occasionally on our own as a family was not complete without seeing Lolita perform. So she will be missed by a lot of people. So Toki, well, I guess you and Jimmy can swim the calm seas together forever. All right, back to the normal commentary. Passenger Vessel Services Act is stupid. A big deal was made over the last couple of days because Carnival Paradise got a waiver to sail an itinerary to nowhere due to delays caused by Hurricane Idalia. And, well, here's the thing. The Passenger Vessel Services Act was originally passed in 1886. Yeah, do the math. That's a long time ago, and I'm sure it's been modified a number of times, but still, it's stupid. Do we really need it? I mean, 1886, don't you think a few things have changed? Now, the thing is, it was originally passed to protect maritime jobs in the United States. The problem is, it has protected them so well, there aren't any. We don't build ships here in the US. Well, yes, we do build some specialized ships and, of course, military vessels, but we don't build cruise ships here in the United States. We don't have major cruise lines operating, intercity cruises here in the United States. And That's all because of the Passenger Vessel Services Act. And I will say, one of the biggest problems I have with it is, the way I look at it, the cruise lines are being prevented from offering me like an itinerary that I might want to sail. Right? I might actually want to sail a cruise from Miami to New York, but I am not able to do so because of this law. Hence, it is stupid. So I do think it is time to, to change this. And it's something I would love to see the president and maybe Vice President Kennedy, I don't know, take a flamethrower to it. Yes, that would be awesome. I have experience, by the way, with the Passenger Vessel Services Act. A few years ago, this was 2016, I was doing a 3-day sailing to nowhere, on Anthem of the Seas. But when it was originally sailed, the schedule was, or the itinerary was, New York with a stop in Halifax, but they made it very clear that there would be no guest disembarkation. It was merely a technical stop from like midnight to 4 a.m. or something like that, and then back to New York. And it clearly was just to comply with the PVSA. However, because reasons, we, I guess, got a waiver. The ship left New York Harbor and turned south. And for those of you that went to a government school, Halifax is north of New York. All right, my estimation of this scenario is they never actually planned to go to Halifax, right? That would have been kind of pointless. So they planned this little 3-day cruise. It was between like a normal cruise, and I think the ship might have been repositioning right after that. So they had this 3 days, didn't know what to do with it. And so they planned this little 3-day cruise, oh my gosh. Ooh. 3-day cruise to nowhere, never planning to go to Halifax, because when they're planning it, they knew that all they had to do was, call their local government bureaucrat and say, hey, we really don't want to go to Halifax. Can we have a waiver? Here's the check. And the government bureaucrat said, that's enough. Okay, waiver granted. Of course, that's what happened. We all know that's what happened. So, yeah, I got my cruise to nowhere on Anthem of the Seas, and Royal Caribbean, well, they didn't have to go all the way to Halifax. We just literally left the harbor and circled around for a day and a half-ish, and then right back to New York. So yeah, Passenger Vessel, what is wrong with me today? Passenger Vessel Services Act, time to completely rethink it because it is inconvenient to me. And finally, something a little bit more lighthearted. Martha Stewart is innocent. Okay, well, no, she did that other thing. Yeah, we all know that. However, in this whole drama with the iceberg ice in her cocktail, Martha Stewart is completely innocent. She did absolutely nothing wrong in this scenario. It's something that I would like to do, and I'm sure a lot of people would like to do, have a cocktail with iceberg ice. That sounds absolutely fabulous. I will say, though, that the only guilty party in all of this is Swan Hellenic Cruises, cruise lines, whatever, it doesn't matter, for being stupid enough to side with the nitwits who complained about this. Apparently, because of the drama, they are going to suspend this practice, well, indefinitely, because they didn't say when it would be coming back. All right, Swan Hellenic, here's the thing. These people will never be happy. All you've done is piss off, or piss away, hopefully, the guests, and future guests, who have and would pay a lot of money to sail on your cruises. That means the correct answer to these whiners on X or Twitter or wherever is, well, piss off. Or preferably, go piss in the ocean. Because, newsflash to everybody, that water in her cocktail, that iceberg in her cocktail, will be back in the ocean probably within 12 hours. Because that's how the world works. I'll see you on board.